that we're discussing and to give you the best possible answers to my mind. There is no set answer to what we're about to go through or what we're experiencing now, but I think together we have enough ideas that we should be able to help each other. So I'll go ahead and share the presentation. Alrighty. So once again, welcome everybody. Here we go. Can everybody see the presentation? Whoop, 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 whoop. It's freaking out. It's freaking out. I have it now, but I can't see them. I can't see them. Can everybody hear me? If you can hear me, can you please type it in the chat box? Okay. All right, awesome. So everybody can hear me and everybody can see the presentation. Okay, so today we're talking about coronavirus. Oh my gosh. Sorry guys, technical difficulties. So today we're talking about coronavirus and what is it going to mean for your career and how is the world of work going to change post-COVID-19. Actually, the world of work has already changed. But before we do that, let me introduce myself before we get into this conversation. Okay, so my name is Jamila Hollingsworth. I am the second vice president of the Barbados Youth Development Council, but I'm also an HR practitioner. I am the HR manager at the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc. And I also own a boutique HR firm. It's called the HR Boss. A lot of people know us from Instagram and Facebook and social media, but we are a small firm and we operate regionally and internationally to serve corporate clients as well as individual clients. Now, since I would say February, we have been following COVID-19 a lot closer and the impact that it will have on the world of work. So I just want to share these few ideas with you. Just a tiny little bit more about me. I've been doing HR for 9 years, mostly in Barbados, Jamaica, and St. Lucia. But now I'm back in Barbados. I've moved here permanently, and it's been a joy to work with employees that I serve in 5 different markets. Okay, so can I move this? What is interesting for you guys is to know that when COVID started last year, October, November in Wuhan, China, I was in China when this all started. So I was in China, we were on an exploratory trip, and that's me there in the screen, on the screen with 7 of my employees going to China, excited to start a new path, a new journey in establishing another office in that region. Hopefully it was an exploratory trip. So we left Barbados in November and we packed up all our stuff, and the hope was to go learn as much as we can about Chinese tourism. A lot of people don't know that China has some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. There's a big tourist spot called Henan, China, and on Henan, which is the island of China, there is a place called Sanya that houses all of their hotels, and that's where they make the most of their tourism dollars. That's the cruise hub of China. So I would have spent a few weeks in Henan when the breakout happened. And as we were traveling back to mainland to Shanghai, we would have noticed that they started testing our temperatures. But we just thought, because China generally is heavily regulated, we just thought that it's just a general precaution or just like a part of their culture that they test everybody's temperatures when going through the airport. But we had no idea that coronavirus outbreak was that serious on mainland, and we had no idea what we were kind of traveling through. So everybody around us, they were wearing masks, and Chinese people don't know anything about social distancing, so there was no social distancing. But a lot of people were wearing masks and wearing gloves, but we were in the middle of all of it, kind of just living our lives as normal as we possibly could, because it was unknown to us. So fast forward, we came home. The week of Christmas, I think Christmas Eve, and turn on the TV back in the Western world, and we discover that COVID-19 is almost as big as the Ebola news was back in the day. We turn on, it's all over the TV. People are traveling. People are grown in flights. They don't want students to come home from China, and we were lucky enough to get back to Barbados before it all blew up into the pandemic it is today. Thankfully, none of us were ill, or none of us became ill that we know of. So for so many people over the last 2-3 weeks, a lot of people felt like this pandemic came out of nowhere. People were like, where did this come from? It kind of just turned my life upside down. I'm used to a routine, which is getting up for work every morning at 5:30, probably working out, getting ready, and then heading into the office. And this pandemic kind of just shakes your whole routine, and now you are forced to work from home. But what I'm telling people is, you're not really working from home. You're at home trying to work. It is not, employers cannot expect you to perform at optimum or perform where you were before, because mentally you're just trying to accept the fact, one, that your regular routine is no more. Two, you're trying to make sense of what's happening in terms of, hi guys, when you come on to the live, just make sure you mute your mic. Okay. So you're trying to make sense of what's happening in the world. Am I going to lose my job? Am I going to be laid off? Am I going to, like, is the business that I work for even going to be existent after COVID-19? So it's a period where we are doing a lot of questioning. We're trying to find out if the authorities are doing a good job at not closing borders. We're looking at what other islands are doing, at other territories are doing, and we're comparing to what we're doing here in Barbados. And it's a very uncertain time. So when you're at home right now, trying to work from home, you really are at home trying to work. Just admitting some more people. Okay. So it's here. COVID-19 has reached Barbados. It took a little longer to get here than it did the other islands in the Caribbean, but it's here. So what does this mean for Barbados? And we can start with on the macroeconomic scale, because that's my background. I'm a finance girl. And then we're going to go down into what does it mean for your career and what does it mean for you financially. Now, Barbados depends heavily on tourism. Tourism is what drives our economy. Like it or not, many people may have other thoughts on what does drive our economy, but truth is tourism drives our economy. So the moment that you close, the seaport was the first to be closed. You close the seaport, you close the airport. What happens is it has a trickle-down effect on everything else. If you close the seaport and you close the airport, immediate people that will be affected are taxi drivers, red cap, people that do red cap at the airport, people that sell food around the airport, the hotels and the accommodation centers that people stay in, Airbnbs. A lot of Barbadians rent out their homes as Airbnbs for people who are visiting. All of that income has been affected. Over 5,000 people in Barbados have been sent home from hotels. So of all the properties that we have, even Big Bad Sandy Lane had to close its doors to tourists and to locals because of coronavirus. On top of all of that, without the closure of the hotels, with the red caps being affected, with taxi operators being affected, you have a situation where it doesn't only affect the hospitality sector. I don't think that people understand that closing the ports just doesn't only affect the hospitality sector. It affects every single person in Barbados. If the hotel workers aren't going to work, they're not putting in gas, they're not buying lunch. So the little lady that parks her food van outside of Sandy Lane, she's not getting any sales that she has relied on to pay her mortgage for the last 15 years. The little person that does the taxi work for Sandy Lane or at the airport, they're not having that income, and it has a trickle-down effect right into the economy. If the island is closed and there's nowhere to go, there's nobody buying clothes. So all the malls, all the clothing stores, all the online boutiques, they now are making no income, because if I ain't going outside, why am I buying clothes? The makeup people, people who are makeup artists who play their trade at Cropover and have a big boom during Cropover events with young ladies getting ready to play mass or to go to fats, they no longer are making any money. So every section in society, whether it be the clothes people, whether it be even food people, we see the closure of Chafat and KFC, and now our layoff levels in Barbados, the number given last Sunday was 30,000 people are laid off. Everybody's home. Construction is closed. So if we close our ports and tourism is affected, it automatically affects the whole economy. And I don't think people realize it. Like, people study it on a macro level. How does the economy, or how does the environment in which I'm operating affect my job? So you have to look first at, what is Barbados doing? Do we have a plan of action? Do we think the authorities are doing a pretty decent job to contain the spread of COVID-19? And secondly, after COVID has passed, do we have a plan in place to re-stimulate the economy and get it going after COVID-19 has passed, or when it looks like we're going to be in the clear? Number two, what does it mean for your job? Now, there's several businesses that will not exist when COVID-19 is over. So in Barbados, we had a situation where a lot of people didn't want to take online payment. A lot of people didn't want to do delivery. So we have supermarkets, we have fast food places that never offered us delivery services, never wanted to take online payments. But because of COVID-19, they were forced to take online payments. They were forced to do home deliveries. And this should be something that was just happening across the board even before this. I order food on hopscotch. I order food like every day on hopscotch. And I was always telling myself, why is this not like more widespread? Like, why is it that I can't order groceries or order other services via this kind of medium? But no, COVID-19 has caused people to become innovative, has caused businesses to become innovative in order to keep up with demand and in order to adapt and remain open. By the way, I don't want to feel like I'm talking to myself. So if you guys want to engage with me, you could either one, unmute your mic, or two, type in the chat box. All right. So you have to look closely at, what type of business do I work in right now? Do I work in a food business? Do I work in construction? Do I work in an administrative office? Do I work for government? And you have to look and say, will this business be around after COVID-19? Does the business have the resilience to remain open after this time? And you have to do like a real serious assessment, because I think that preparation and planning is always better than trying, like, something happening and then you're trying to like figure out a plan when you're panicked. So I would suggest to employees to look at the business that you're currently working, look at the industry that you're currently working, and start to analyze whether the industry or the business will be around after COVID-19. Is the leadership putting things in place for you to still maintain, for the company to adapt in order for you to still maintain a job? Number two, companies are operating with a lot leaner structures. So before, a lot of companies were against working from home. They were against employees getting flexible time, working from home, coming in 2 days on and 3 days off. But now everybody has to work from home, down to the receptionist. So why is it that in Barbados, we could not have implemented this a lot sooner? Why is it that we were forced now to implement work from home after or during a pandemic? And the truth is, this pandemic caught us with our pants down. Most employers did not have systems, they didn't have processes, they did not have the technology in place in order to move to fully work from home structures. And that's the truth. So what you have now is employers trying to do the best that they can with what little resources they had to get employees to move at home where they could be safe in their home environment. But I'm still seeing a lot of employers in Barbados who have not set up the necessary structures for monitoring employees, one, or from making sure that employees are okay. So you give somebody a laptop or you give them a tablet to work from home, but you don't have any systems in place for dealing with mental health. This pandemic is rough on a lot of people. And if you don't have proper counseling facilities, HR, first of all, HR, we aren't counselors, we aren't trained counselors. And we need support, even HR, as HR professionals, we need support in order to process this mentally to be able to properly deal with our staff. There should be support in place to deal with, for employees to anonymously reach out to via phone, email, text, smoke signal to a licensed psychologist or a therapist, somebody, so that they could kind of talk through what their feelings are about COVID, what anxiety they have. Secondly, managers need to check in to ensure that their employees are okay, because some people will feel guilt, oh, I'm not doing as much as I used to when I was in the physical office environment. People can't see what I'm doing physically, so they might want to lay me off. That might be some people's greatest fear. So managers and companies really need to do a good job at providing the support that employees need, just not technology-wise, but other ways, in terms of mental support, in terms of support from so mental support, emotional support, and they also need to know, is their home environment comfortable? Do you have enough food? Do you have, you're using electricity, using your own resources? Do you have Wi-Fi? Do you squat on your neighbor's Wi-Fi? So you can't just have the assumption that everybody's home environment is fit for work. You can't just have the assumption that everybody's comfortable at home and can be just as productive as they are at work. So there needs to be a little bit more empathy emphasized. All right, I'm trying to move on to the next slide. Okay, so how bad will it be? A lot of economists say that this pandemic will lead us into the next recession. Okay, will lead us into the next recession. They say that it will be as bad as 9/11 and the 2008 recession put together. So what does this mean for you? No, I don't know how many of you are old enough to remember 9/11, but when it was about in first form, 9/11 happened, and I remember it changed the face of travel. So before, there was no taking off shoes, taking off belt, walking through these large body scanners before 9/11. But as a result of 9/11, travel as we knew it changed. So we had to take off our shoes, take off belt, the liquids, they had like a ounce. There were limits on liquids. There were a lot more restrictions in terms of visas. So I remember you didn't need a visa to go to Mexico before, but then like a lot of other countries start to implement visas, and they had visa restrictions by different countries. So a lot has changed as a result of 9/11, and people are saying travel as we know it will change going forward. So some economists are saying that there will be lots of job loss, businesses will be closing, there will be governmental cuts, possibly because, let's face it, the civil service was already big, and well, in Barbados at least, it's already big, and people are expecting job cuts or job fallouts as a result. There is going to be an increase in debt. So if you live in Barbados, you know that we took some funding from IMF. So if we have closed our main earner, which is tourism dollars, we closed our ports, how were we making back money to pay the debt that we were servicing? So ideally, if you look at it from a macroeconomics perspective, you know that it's about to be horror stories for most people. So how do we prepare in an environment that's uncertain? How do we prepare if we don't even know we're gonna have a job? How do we prepare when we don't even know what the other side looks like? And that's what I hope that this conversation today will foster. So many of us, for those of us that are lucky to keep our jobs, or those of you who will be lucky enough to keep your jobs, workplaces will change going forward. So you're gonna see a lot more remote working. Organizations have realized that one, they could operate on more leaner structures. So you may not need the 30 people that you had before, you may only need 15 to continue the operation. There's many operations here in Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean that are operating on half the size that they originally had. So half the size of the structure that they originally had. So what does this mean? It means that people who are considered non-essential now, they have to look to see what value are they bringing their employer, and what value, if that value is enough to keep them in a job. And it's just sad to say, the employees who were the rock stars, those are the employees who will be considered to be kept on. I don't feel like I get any questions from people, but let me just check the chat box. Are you guys following? Because I feel like I'm talking to myself. I can't find nobody. So if you are following, you could drop a thumbs up in the chat box. Okay, so Erica is saying yes. Okay, so Nicole says she's listening attentively. Okay, Christina's here. Shantae is saying yep. Okay, so I'm making some sense. So if you can operate with 50% less staff, and your profits are increasing or just the same, or probably like a little under, you really feel that employers will keep on a full staff complement? No, they will not. Chances are they are not going to keep on a full staff complement. So you have to look and see, are you a rockstar employee? And even if you are home working now and you may not mentally feel there, this is the time really now to apply pressure. This is the time to say, okay, I have to stand out regardless of what's going on, because I have to maintain my position in this company. I have to maintain the value that I'm adding to this company. Right now, HR managers and entrepreneurs and business owners are looking to see, how can I go forward with a lean structure? How can I maximize my profit with the least amount of employees that I possibly have? And the truth of the matter is, okay, and the truth of the matter is, there are some employers that can't afford to keep on everybody, but they will use this opportunity as the opportunity to get rid of employees because of COVID-19. And it's sad, but it's a true reality of what's going on. So 1, lean structures. 2, remote working. So we talked before about employers being reluctant to let you work from home, and employees being reluctant to let you have like flexible working. Flexible working is you being in the office for 3 days and you having 2 days away from the office. Or you saying, okay, well, my husband is in Bora Bora for 2 weeks on a conference. I would like to go with my husband to the conference, but I have my laptop, so I will be working remotely. I have a VPN. I will still be working from the 8 to 4. I will be available for calls, emails, and everything. The only difference is my location. I will be in Bora Bora instead of Barbados, right? A lot of employers in Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean were reluctant to do that. But now I think it's an opportunity to open the conversation with HR and business owners to let employees start working from home, let employees start flexible working where they can actually choose the hours that they want to come in. There are some companies that we can use as an example that already do this. So we have the Virgin Atlantic group of companies where they get unlimited vacation days. So you don't have like 3 weeks vacation or 4 weeks vacation. There is unlimited vacation at Virgin Atlantic. But studies have actually shown that because Virgin gave employees like unlimited vacation, employees actually didn't abuse it because they know it was there. So because the environment is so friendly and the environment gives them the flexibility to work from home or to work flexibly where they can come into the office when they feel like, work on projects that they're passionate about, set their own hours, food is easily accessible, so is childcare, the benefits are good at Virgin. What they found is that people hardly took vacation, although they were offered unlimited vacation in their contracts. So I think definitely in the Caribbean, this is something that we will have to look at. Know that we are all working from home, is looking at remote working, flexible working, and unlimited vacation. Because if you give a man, if you're working for 52 weeks and you only get 3 weeks vacation, that's the only thing you have to look forward for a whole year. Come on. So I think people are more productive when they're comfortable. And if somebody has a desire or a passion to travel, and they leave and they go overseas, and they want to attend a conference or they want to attend something that to develop them professionally, I think people do their best work when they're happy and comfortable. And if your work environment doesn't make them happy and comfortable, then it doesn't make sense having them there 9 to 5 for a whole week, and people aren't happy and comfortable, productivity will actually be lower. So I think COVID-19 opens the opportunity for employees and employers and trade unions to discuss flexible working, decent work, and unlimited vacation in the Caribbean, which doesn't exist outright. There's no policy around it, right? So I'm really happy that it will open that conversation. Now, we spoke earlier about leaner organizational structures. We spoke about possible layoffs. We spoke about the economy. Now we're going to speak about how you could get ready and prepare for the fallout that will come. It will come. It's not if it's going to come, it will come. So what can you do? There are some things that you can do to prepare. Number one, look at your job security. We talked about that earlier. Look and see, are you an essential worker? Where do you work? Are the industry that you work in, do you guys provide an essential service? So for example, if you work for a distributor of N95 mask, that is an essential service. If you work for a pharmacy, if you work for a doctor at a doctor's office, those are essential services. People have to eat, people have to see doctor, people have medication. But if you work possibly at, let's say, give me an example. Okay, example of somewhere that you could work that's not essential. Let's say, are red caps essential? So when you go, so I want you to type in the chat box, do you think a red cap is essential? When you go to New York or you go to, so Samantha is saying her dressers aren't essential. I beg to differ, girl. I think hairdressers are very essential. But a red cap, do you think a red cap is essential? Yes or no? Shantae is saying she wants a barber. Oh no. Okay, so Christina is saying yes, because not everyone can afford to take their luggage. So we have varying views, but most people say no, red caps are not essential. Now, when you go overseas to anywhere, London, St. Lucia, Trinidad, I can't ever remember seeing a red cap. You better lug that luggage to the airport yourself or get one of them little metal trolleys and struggle and fling your luggage on that metal trolley and find your way outside, even in, pay for a car and push yourself. So I can't ever remember traveling and the red cap meeting me nowhere other than in the Caribbean to take my luggage. Anywhere outside the Caribbean, you better struggle and get a metal cart and put your luggage on and get through. So for me, if I was working as a red cap, I would ask myself, know that the planes are grounded and nobody is traveling ready. I would ask myself, is this going to be essential after? Because red caps, as Roshana is saying, is a luxury. If I was a taxi operator, people are still getting around now and people are not really making use of taxis. So we could see a change in government policy to where, I remember they had a law pushed back towards Uber about 3 years ago from the then government. We could see a change where people say, okay, well, ride sharing might be a thing. Uber might be a good idea or a more economical idea to use than a taxi where you're going to pay $50 to get from their street to town. So you have to look at the industry you're operating and if your employer or what you do is an essential service. So I think most people agree that a hairdresser is an essential service, in my opinion. I think most people would say that a nail technician may not be essential, but it is a luxury. So do you think a nail technician is essential or is it a luxury? All right, so Nicole is saying nail technician is a luxury. So whereas I know some nail technicians that get out licking. So people know during COVID, so I'm a girl that get my nails done every 3 weeks. I know during COVID, everything mash up be on 7.5 of a nail, right? So for me personally, I know see that I can go without a nail technician for longer than 8 weeks. So Erica is saying she get her nails done too. Okay, so a nail technician may have to worry now. Okay, Nicole is at 7.5 weeks. So a nail technician may have to worry now about her job, because for me, I don't need to go to you every 3 weeks. I may just go to you for special occasions because I realized now that I could do my own pedicures. I bought a foot bath and then get him better at doing pedicures. But my, start looking at my nails, so like, but my nails are improving. Okay. So Roshana is saying my nail technician is essential. I don't know about Roshana, but that is optional. What about some person that sells food? Do you think a food vendor is essential? So the lady that Philip sells bread downstairs for breakfast. Do you think that's essential with all the cooking that you guys are doing now at home? Do you think that you will still be buying breakfast every morning from the bread van? Or do you think that you will still be buying lunch every day? Okay, so we have some answers coming in. So Shantae is saying, to me, yes, I do not cook. Nicole is saying persons are at home, so no. Shaquille is saying yes, he will still buy from the bread van. Roshana say, I'ma still make breakfast and buy lunch. I'ma still buy breakfast and lunch. Roshana has a lot of money, guys. Kobe is saying, I can't wait for Chafat. And Erica is saying, eventually you get tired of cooking. Rita said, I'll be saving that lunch money. No, listen, I used to buy breakfast and lunch, and that money adds up. So I would buy a breakfast. My breakfast would be probably $10. My lunch probably be $25. That's $35 in one day. So 35 by 5 is how much? A lot of money. And all of that money by 4 is more money. So I realized that I became richer during COVID-19 because that's $700 a month. $700 a month buying breakfast and lunch. And sometimes dinner, because if you work late, you may buy a little fat $10 specials, right? So all of that money adds up. So are your practices going to change post-COVID-19? And this is all to tie into the fact that as your patterns and your behavioral practices change, how you consume or how you purchase will change, which means somebody like me who might be going to the nail salon every 3 weeks, now realizing that I can do my nails on my own, I may only go for special occasions. That will affect her income and that will affect her overall business. Okay, I see some comments coming in here. Marita says she'll be saving that lunch money. Roshana said, King Wings, I see you. Erica saying, it's true. I try not to buy breakfast, but when you get up late and you don't feel like doing anything. Okay. So going back here, you have to look and see if the service you provide is essential, or the service that you, of the business that you work for, is it essential? And 2, are you a rock star employee? So you know you have employees that do just enough to get by, or just enough to make sure that money hit on the 25th and you be skating to the bank. And then there are some employees that do the most, like overdo, work to 9 o'clock, like Roshana, work on Saturdays and Sundays and go above and beyond to make sure the team looks good or to make sure the company looks good. Now, if you were laying off, I work in HR, and you have options, which employee do you think that we're gonna let go? Is it the rock star that is be doing the most to ensure the team and the company looks good? Or is it the person that does barely enough to get by to ensure the money hits the account on the 25th? Think about it. So can the company carry on without you? Or can the company, if you're on vacation, nobody don't miss you. If you're on sick leave, nobody don't miss you. Those people are the people who will most definitely not make it through COVID-19. So that's why I was saying, if you're working from home, this is the time, although it's a mentally tough time, this is the time to apply pressure. Next section. So how can you be a more competitive employee are a more competitive candidate if you're looking to switch careers. Because the truth is, there are a lot of new businesses that will be developed after COVID-19. A lot of amazing ideas come out of the need for survival. A lot of amazing ideas come out of recessions or pandemics. Like I was saying, 3 weeks ago, we didn't have grocery delivery services, but now we do. 3 weeks ago, everybody delivering everything: eggs, vegetables, groceries, masks. Like the only thing that I can deliver is a hairdresser and a barber. But everything else in Barbados is being delivered to your door. And we did not have that luxury before. Before, even for delivery services like KFC, they were limited to a specific radius or proximity. Now we're seeing delivery being extended to as far as St. Lucie. Connections unstable. As far as St. Lucie. All right. So Kobe's asking, so what should employers do? What should you do with employers who want us to do more with no more money, and you're going above and beyond what is on your job description? Really, right now in this time, you have to be as adaptable as possible. Employers are trying to keep the doors open, so they will call you to do things that are not in your job description, and they will call you to do things that are sometimes above and beyond what you're accustomed to doing. So I encourage people to be adaptable and to be as flexible as possible during this time. It's not like a normal time where you're in the office and people are requiring more of you. It's a time where you're at home and everybody's trying to save the business to keep everybody employed. So I would encourage people to be adaptable within reason. All right. So how do you use this time to be a more competitive employee or a more competitive candidate? Number one, get your resume redone. You know, if you ain't got a job, so it is sensible to clean up your resume, go back to it. A resume is not a static document. So you update it. It's supposed to be updated every 3 months. So you update your resume with the recent conferences you have attended, professional and personal development seminars, update your references, touch base with your references, because sometimes you haven't talked to them in a while, especially if they are your lecturers. So you might want to use the opportunity to touch base with the references that you have listed to ask them, oh gosh, sorry guys. Okay. Touch base with the references that you do have to make sure that they are still good to be used as references. And if you want a more current reference, like say your former boss or your previous employer, that would be a good time to touch base with them. If you are unsure or unfamiliar with, if you need your resume reviewed by a professional, we're available. Like I said, for those who are joining now, I own a small boutique firm called HR Boss, and we are offering free professional development courses, but we're also doing resume reviews and resume revamps at a small cost. So if it is that you want a professional to review your CV or to review your resume, they're different documents. You may want to send it to us. This is the time now to go through, because before our lives were so busy, we didn't have time to go back to the resume, update and review. So now is the perfect time to get those documents in order. Number 2, update your LinkedIn. Many of you have selfies on your LinkedIn. Like, you know who you are. You know who you are. Many of you have selfies. Many of you have watermark pictures. Those are not professional for LinkedIn. You want to take this time to build out your professional LinkedIn profile. So professional photo, make sure the description adequately matches what you are now. Make sure you build in your, you've put all of your work experience, your volunteerism, the projects you've worked on, as well as the skills. LinkedIn also has a space where you can post the work that you've done. So any articles, any press, and man, I'm not targeting you, honey. So any posts on any press that you've done, any projects that you're exceptionally proud of, you can post on LinkedIn. And what it helps to do is it lets the professional community know, hi, Jamila is here, and Jamila is a mover and shaker in Barbados, or Jamila is a mover and shaker in Barbados, or a mover and shaker in the region, right? A lot of people hear about us but they don't actually know what we do. So LinkedIn is like a professional Facebook. Instead of sharing memes, you share accomplishments or projects, or you start dialogue or engage in dialogue on LinkedIn, like meaningful dialogue on policy or on news articles, professional writing. LinkedIn is what really shapes your professional image online. LinkedIn is also attached to what they call LinkedIn Learning, which is LinkedIn Learning is it's like an online resource center for people who want to develop professionally, but it's paid. So if you have the additional finances that you can do LinkedIn Learning, yes, it's great, but there are other cheaper resources that you could use, like Allison.com. BYDC is also having, you're here, so we're having our own series of professional development seminars. The next one is tomorrow at 4. So you can tune into these and do the same thing just like LinkedIn Learning. So thanks for coming. This is a step in the right direction. Okay, so we have a few questions. All right, so P is asking, what's the difference between a resume and a CV? So a CV is it actually means curriculum vitae, which is Italian for course, your whole course of life. So it's all of your work, your research papers you've done, conferences you've attended, training sessions you've attended. So it's a very extensive document with your whole body of work. Whereas your resume is kind of like a snapshot of your professional qualifications. It's basically a page or two pages. It's like a highlight reel of your career. Is a 2-page career highlight reel. So people who have long careers, like maybe over 10 years, they tend to have 2 documents. People that are just out of school, they tend to have just 1 document, which is like a 1-page resume or maybe a 2-page CV. Okay, let me check the messages. Okay, so Samantha is asking, me privately. Okay, so to get in contact with me for resume and CV, my email is info.hrboss@gmail.com or info@thehrboss.com, or you can follow us on Instagram @thehrboss. Okay, so Roshana is asking, can you post the courses you do on LinkedIn? Coursera, edX offers great courses with the option of pay. Right, so Roshana is completely right. There are a lot of free resources out there that you can use. Allison.com is also great. Udemy is great. Udemy, I think LinkedIn Learning just bought Udemy though. And Google Garage is perfect. Yeah, all right. Number 3. Use this time to clean up your social media. So many of y'all social media, okay, another question before I go on. So Shamar Ward is asking, should persons be sending printed CVs in this time? I really don't get why people still send printed CVs. Unless the advertisement asks for a printed CV, you really should be sending the CV in via email. It's a lot easier to trace, it's a lot easier to track, it's a lot easier to follow up on. It goes into a database. In 2020, you really shouldn't be sending a printed CV unless the employer specifically asks you to mail it to this mailing address or this PO box. I hope that answers your question, Shamar, because it's a lot harder to track and to catalog, and if the person wants to follow up on it, it's nearly impossible to find the CV. So you're really doing yourself a disadvantage when you're just printing and sending out CVs. So please send them via email. Okay. All right, so clean up your social media. So whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, please use this time to go through and think about, what do I want my professional or personal brand to look like? Like it or not, your personal brand affects your professional brand. You cannot professionally be out here looking all smart and cute in your BYDC shirt, or smart and cute on LinkedIn, and on Facebook and Instagram, you're showing us a different image. You are on a cruise poster in a compromising position, or you are engaged in a conversation on Twitter that does not, is a complete contrast to the image that you're trying to put out on LinkedIn. There has been a lot of debate about whether employers should look at social media or should look at the internet to judge people by when giving them a job. And the truth is, your online presence helps to give us a better idea of who you are as a person. We cannot get to know you completely in a 1-hour interview via Skype or in person. So the content that we found on the internet is the content you put out there. You put out this content, whether deliberately or whether knowing, you put out the content. Whether it was a tweet, a retweet, a photo, you put out this content. So the content that you've placed out there for us to see, this is the content that we form an opinion based on this content, all of the content. So the LinkedIn profile, the social media, the other forms of social media, we form a picture of who you are as a person. So make sure your brand message is consistent. So if you are somebody who is a youth advocate, you believe in rights for women, you have to have a consistent message on all platforms. You can't be professional. I'm not saying that you can't have a personal life and do condonement and do facts or whatever, but just be careful with the content you put on Twitter and the conversations you get engaged in on Twitter, whether it be on touchy topics or pictures that you may not want your pastor to see. Your employers don't want to see them either. So just be careful of what you post on social media. Shamar, I know you're in IT. You have any comments on posting and how it affects your brand? Okay, so Kobe is saying, I feel attacked. So what about personal life and professional life is separation? So when I'm at a cruise, that just means that I'm relatable. You need to have a life. Yes, I believe in work-life balance, and we have employers understand that you have a life. You go to cruises, you go to Cropova, enjoy yourself. The problem that we have is when we see our accountant on their head, like so, like that is enjoying yourself and then it's going overboard. So just be careful. And again, this is what you put out on social media. I think Shamar gone. You're trying to join. All right, so Shamar is saying, especially if it's an external facing position. So there are some employers I know, for example, that do very heavy screening. So in 2018, I did an internship in Washington, and the screening process for that internship was so rigorous. And I did not realize that they were monitoring my social media for a number of months. Even before I stepped foot in DC, I was being monitored for a number of months to see if I was tweeting anything against the president, to see if I was tweeting anything against the government, or to see if I basically was a terrorist against the US government. So stuff like that, me innocently retweeting something on Twitter could have caused me an opportunity to work for the US government, because I feel like I should have freedom of speech, but every employer, there are some employers that are very strict when it comes to those things, especially international organizations. Okay, so Iman is saying, I feel the problem lies when you are a person in the organization who holds the image of the company. Yes, I've heard people talk about this before. Yeah, it's a true thing. It would be bad of me not to tell you that that's how HR managers operate. Like, every HR manager doesn't look like me. They're not all young and like non-traditional. There are very ancient HR people who are very judgmental, and they judge you based on how you look, how you speak, where you come from, how you carry yourself, even the people that you associate with. So you don't want to give them additional ammunition not to give you a job. So just be careful what you post. So use this time to clean up your social media. Secondly, this is the time that you should figure out that you need more than one stream of income. A second income stream this is not a time to have one stream of income. Look at what the market is asking for. So there are some early adopters. We had Refetch, we have Price World that started to deliver groceries as soon as they saw that the government was going to shut down. They put those businesses in place and they got the gears up and running, logos done, boxes print. They got off to a good start. You have to see what the market is asking for and give the market what's asking for. Now is not the time to start a business just because you're passionate about it. It is starting a business that the market needs. That's the way that you will make money now. So look at services that are absolutely essential based on what we were talking before. Food is absolutely essential. Right now, the people are calling for the freedom of chuffet and wingdings. Food is essential. Grooming services are essential. You guys said that hairdressers are essential. I have a young man that can't live without his barber. Nail techs are semi-essential. Lash tech, some people might think that lash technicians are essential. Juice business, people are going to be looking to build their immune system and get all these pressed juices and natural juices in their system to build their immunity, because researchers are saying there's going to be a second surge of COVID-19. So people are going to look to be on this health train and get their body right and get their immune system built up. And number 5, corner shops right now making a licking, whether it's a mini mart, whether you got a piece of something belonging in your house. Once you're selling canned goods or any kind of goods, you're making a licking now as a wander, a mom and pop shop. So for you, starting a side hustle, employers before once looked down on people who had outside jobs or who had side hustles. It was like a big taboo thing in Barbados. They use work full time and you go on next job, or you use work full time and you have a business. It was like a big, like a hush hush thing, and people being scared to get in trouble with their actual employer because they were working a second job. I think COVID-19 is going to change that. I was doing it for years and people had a lot to say, and people were sending my newspaper articles to my superiors. But I would say to you, one job is no job. One income is no income, because when that income dries up and you're laid off, like, what is going to feed you and your family? So now's the time to think, what business can I start? What skill or what value can I give to the market that will pay me? What skills do I have that people will pay me for? In this whole pandemic, I've discovered that I could do a bad pasta. Like, that's something that I might be looking to sell once I get out of this pandemic. Shamar is saying something. How do you suggest people balance side hustles, making sure it doesn't interfere with their core job? Okay, just like how you balance anything. So you know your core job is from 8 until 4:30. You dedicate 8 to 4:30 to that core job, and all the other time after that 8 hours is yours. Sleep time, bathing time, gym time. You decide what you will cut out in order to dedicate time to that side hustle. So for me, I do my side hustle after work. I start working at 7 and I generally end about 11 o'clock. Or you can tell yourself, I'm not doing any side hustle work during the week. If it is that you sell juices, you can make the juices on Saturday morning and deliver them on Sunday. So you just have to figure out what works best for your schedule. And you can't burn out yourself either. Put some systems in place. There are automations via technology. There are a lot of scheduling platforms and calendar systems that you can use. And there's a lot of way that you can outsource stuff that you don't want to do on your own, like running errands, right? So look and see what you can outsource. Look and see how you can manage your time with technology and do that. All right. So look at a second income. And yeah, so that is the end of my presentation for today. So I'm going to take questions. So just a quick recap. We talked about the economy. We talked about what can we expect. We talked about how you can prepare to become a rockstar employee, how you can put things in place now to not make you panic. And we talked about starting a side hustle, a second stream of income. Are there any questions? You can unmute your mic, man. I ain't hearing nobody today. Hello? Any questions? If you don't want to unmute your mic, you can type it in the chat box.
Hey, Jamila. Shamar here.
Hi.
Hey. I just wanted to tack on to the last point you made about the side hustle. I think it's a very good suggestion. And there are various jobs now that allow you to, stretch your time, maybe online or in another arena. But one thing I want to say is I've seen people sneaking around, maybe sneaking in the bathroom if it's an activity they can do on the phone, or taking 90% of the day on phone calls which are related to their business,
Right.
and it of course causes some significant concern. So you really would want persons to be very cognizant of the fact that, hello, you still have a core job or a main job, but even if you do have to take that call outside of work, you have to be, you have to be reasonable.
Right.
So I actually have seen some people, they may have passed away, to switch the screen quick because they were doing something they weren't supposed to be doing, or if you understand my point.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just is a good suggestion, but I really hope that people consider the core job that they're doing and they don't overdo, because then it could end up working against you.
All right. I agree with that as well. Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, I've got a comment. Just Darian from Montserrat.
Hi,
But
Damien from Montserrat. Hello.
yeah. But I'd just like to say I agree with you. Looking at your market, your side hustle or whatever thing you want to do on the side, it needs to be born from a place, from a market that is what people need and not necessarily what you want. The passion at this point, because you're in a crisis. Um, being part of several essential services in my work, I see a way people need different things. So if you tap into those little things that people need on a daily, weekly basis, it's better for you. So you work between the lockdowns, you work between the different curfew times, and you go from there.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Thanks for your contribution. Is there anybody else on from any other island? No? So we just have Barbados and Montserrat. Okay, guys. So thank you very much for coming. Oh, one person in chat box. Trinidad is here. Hi, Erica.
I have a question. Hi. All right. So I work in the hospitality industry. I want to take a house.
Yeah.
So you already don't know the story, that the whole layoff thing and stuff.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to know your advice for somebody like me that works in the hotel industry. Because remember, you were talking about job security and stuff.
Yes.
So the thing is, I actually like working in the industry, but I know the pros and